Hey viewers, and today's video we are going to be doing the design system for Sweat Health, but we're going to be doing it with glass morphism, which is going to be tough because of the contrast issues, and we're going to create our own Big Sur style background as well. Let's have a bit of fun on a Saturday. My name is Roy, I'm a web designer. If you do find the content useful, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and let's get into the video. So we got some points or some to-dos that we are going to tackle, and straight away we are going to then hit the F key and we are going to start with, let's say we're going to create a really big background of 1920 by 1080. So Big Sur style background, and what we're going to base this on is the Sweat Health logo shape. So if I was to grab, actually if I zoom out more, so if I was to grab this version here, which is just a slimmed down version of this, and then if we go to the design system, let's paste that. Okay, so for those that haven't done this bit, let's just do it from scratch. So we go, for example, there, very simple, and we are then going to add a border radius of 80. Okay, that's too much. 40 and 24 for the 8-point grid. Okay, so there we go, that's good enough. So we delete that one, and now we have our nice shape. And what we're going to do is we're just going to make that a bit bigger. So let's say 1080. So now it should be the exact height. If I can bring that into frame. Okay, so there we go. Let's make that a bit bigger. So let's say 1200. Okay, great. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to just create a whole gradient from left to right. We're going to go from light to dark. So we're going to go from top right. So this bit is we're going to go from light to dark. So the 500 range to the 600 range, and we are using the Tailwind CSS UI version 2 for colors. Let's make a stroke of white just to see where we are. Okay, so a nice simple gradient for the background, and what we're going to do is start creating more. So let me just save that in case. We're going to bring this right over, and we're going to start creating our nice Big Sur background. So I'm holding shift down. Okay, and then we're going to fill it. We're also going to say linear. We are going to say from top left to bottom right, and we are then going to go the lighter blue. So let's say we go from 3, and then we go to 4. Okay, nice. And we also get rid of the stroke. So we got that nice shape there, and we just copy it across, and we can, of course, we can play around. So now we're going to do a lighter version, and this time we are going to go from, let's say we go from this gray, actually we go from we go from that gray to gray 200. Okay, Now maybe we actually might, ooh, wonder why it's got a hint of that's a bit strange. Okay, start again. So linear, okay, we can see why. So we want to go from around there, bottom right, and we want to go from light to dark, so pure white to a bit of grey. They're all nice. Okay, so you got a nice sharp line, and then we're then going to go to orange. So let's find orange. We're going to go from a light orange to a dark orange. 600. Whoa, that is pretty strong, right? And then we're going to go red. So let's stick to rose because it's near the top. So we're going to go from a light rose to a dark rose of 600. Ooh, these colors are absolutely killing it. And then the last one is, let's just give some more space to these. So it's quite nice that you can create your own Sir style background. And the last color we're going to do is purple, a nice darkish purple. Let's say we're going from light to dark, so there. Ooh, you can even have it soaking into the red, but for now we are going to go 600. Boom. Okay, that is quite nice. Okay, let's increase that. Whew, okay, so that was pretty quick. So we got a nice Sir style background, and this is based off the branding of Sweat Health. So let's just play around with the positioning, because this is really going to test the design system if the contrast is good enough, because sometimes it won't be good enough, right? And of course we can just play around with certain shapes. We don't have to be always perfect. So I think that's good enough. Okay, so let's just copy across. So now what we're going to do, we've done our big Sir style background. We are now, put that S up here. So what we're going to do now is we are now going to focus on the textiles. Okay, this is a really good test. So if I'm going to group all of these, Command G and lock it, hit the T, and we're going to start with text, and it's going to be extra large. So actually, let's start with text base, and the base is going to be 18. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to do auto layout, so Shift A, we go in, now copy this 6 times, 4, 5, 6, we're then going to stack it, and we also, what I should have done as well is make the line height auto. Because we're going to be introducing different sizes, so we don't want the line height to be exactly the same. So let's just go auto. We're in 9 minutes already. And then you can see here, it gets hard to read, right? So we're going to introduce the glass morphism. And so what we have to do straight away is add a fill of white. We're going to make that 60%. And we are going to add the effect of the blur. So background blur, we're going to give it a strength or a blur of 60. There we go, nice. So now it is a lot more readable, the contrast is better, and we are going to have a padding of, let's say, 40 and a border radius of 40. Okay, so that's quite nice. So you can see on the different colors it's still readable, the contrast is good. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do our different versions. So this is going to be small, extra small, medium, large, and then we got extra large. Okay, so this one we're just going to use this one. It's 24, this one is 32, and rather than this being 40, we're going to go right up to 48. Small is going to be 16 for like legal text and stuff like that, and this will be 14 for, again, things like footer text or labels. So now we have our textiles. Let's be a bit more generous with the spacing. Nice. One thing to add is a stroke. We're going to go solid white. We're going to bring it down to, let's say, 50%. So again, we've got that nice glass look, and then we're going to add the styles. So all you do is you select, you hit this, and we are going to add text base. We are going to just copy the naming, so medium, and another one, large. And hopefully you've been following along on the other tutorials. It is just all about practice. This will all become muscle memory to you when you start getting in good habits of using these insane features. So now we got all our styles. Okay, so that is going to be very useful for the design system. And next thing we're going to do is the input variance. Okay, so this is interesting, right? So forms are really cool, and we can just use one input and use variance. So straight away hit the text or the T. We'll call this input text. We want to use the base size. Select tool. We go to base. Okay, cool. Let's zoom in. And we are going to do Shift A. And we're going to fill this with white. And now we're actually going to play around with the line height. So, actually no, let's leave it as auto. And we are going to use the 8-point grid again. So let's say 24. That might be too much, but we'll see how that looks. 24. Yeah, that's too much. So 16. And 16. Okay, so I think that is good enough. And then what we also want to do is we just want to group this. And we also want to, let's just see. So here we got, oh yes, we want to add a label as well. So label, we want to make that the smallest size. And what we want to do is break it. And we want to make the labels all caps. And let's get another one, which is validation text. So this is so easy to forget about, but we can have some validation text here, or some secondary text, support text, but it's good to put this in practice. So what we're going to do is just select all of these, Shift A, and that is still in the group. So let's take that out of the group. So I didn't actually need to do that. And then let's reduce the spacing. You've got 8, if we're going to stick in the 8-point grid, or 4. I think 4 is good enough. And then what we're going to do is we're going to group that again, and we're going to do Shift A, because we're going to convert this to another auto layout, and we're going to make this white. So again, we're going to do the glass morphism, and that white was around 60%. And then we're going to also add some padding, so 40, the border radius of 40. So, oh yes, and then the other effect we're going to do is the background blur with a blur of 60. Okay, cool. So here we're going to say 8. And what we're going to do, we're going to give this a fixed width of a phone width. So let's 375, like mobile first, for example. And then what we can do is we can say fill container. And we can also do the same for this fill container. Okay, so that is pretty cool. The only issue here you see now is when it's on white, you can't see anything at all. Okay, so that is clearly not good. So we're gonna have to have a border around this. So we are gonna use gray 400. I think that's the contrast is good enough. So this is why it's a good test. Glass morphism is trending, but let's see how a design system can work with this trend. And contrast is always an issue, but a border is going to help with that. And then because that is a placeholder text, we're going to make that a gray of 500. Another thing to introduce in here is an icon. So as an example, you can have a select drop down, and if we place that inside, okay, we're going to use space between, make sure this is vertically, and now we're going to then use variance to then make lots of different variants basically, and you're going to see the power of just one input, how it can make multiples. So if you select this frame, so we might as well label it to input, and we then do, if I remember the keys, it was was it that? Okay, so Alt Command K converts it to a component, and then what happens is you're going to then unlock the variance. So if I hit plus, we're going to say error, and then simply we're just going to change these. So we're going to say rows 500. The text, the validation text error is going to be rows 500 as well. And then this icon, we're actually going to change it, right? So when you get something wrong, we're just going to have a symbol of X, for example. Well, X could also mean, it could also mean close, couldn't it? So can we have a better one than that? If we have a circle with an X, okay, that might be better. Or a circle with an exclamation mark. Okay, we got info. Okay, so I think that one is good. If I can paste that in, yeah, so this is a bit tricky. So if I was to delete that one and go right in, can I paste it? Yeah, it does get a bit tricky with that for some reason. It doesn't work perfectly. You can't really paste it right in. So if I was to go to the frame and paste it in the frame, and the reason why it might be not doing it is because it's already a component. So I just take that out, delete that. Since we're at it, we're also going to get one for a tick. So we can use this small one here. We're also going to click on this frame, not in the variant frame, paste that, we'll just drag that out, delete that one. Okay, so if I go back to this one, and then go in here after the input text place. Okay, it places it. Great. Okay, that's good. And here we're just going to use the same rows 500, and here again we are just going to create another variant, and this variant is going to be success. And here we just delete that one. We'll bring this over, and we are then going to give that green. So if we find a nice green, we can do 500. We also make the border green. So again, it's going to be 500. Validation text, we got a lot of colors now. So we're testing out the contrast, and we got a green of 500. Okay, so that's starting to get a bit lost, but we're not going to make things so perfect. And for some reason, the padding's gone a bit funny there. Not sure why, but anyway. Oh, and the reason why. Let's have a look here. Okay. Okay, so if I actually, resize. Okay, so that's fine. Then we had another variant. So we got success. Another one is disabled. This one will be a bit more challenging, so let's just hide that for now. What that means is you're going to have to make that packed so it aligns to the left. What we're going to say is the base is going to be around, let's say, gray 200, and leave the placeholder as is, so that looks disabled. So we've got error, success, disabled, and then probably another one is focus. So when it's in focus, we're going to have a blue of 5. We're also going to make that a bit thicker, so 2 pixels. And when it's in focus, the gray is going to be the darkest gray. Same thing again. Let's just hide that for now. And we are then going to make this as packed. Here we can also hide that as well on the main one. And we are going to say that as packed as well. So now we used auto layout, we use variance to then quickly create all the different versions. So now we have done the forms, and now let's do button variants. Okay, let's see if we can do this under half an hour. So again, what we can do is we can just copy that. Oops, that is a component, right? So let's copy one of these. So if I can copy that, and then go outside. Okay. We are now outside of that. Let's detach. Where is detach? Wow. Why is there no detach? Is that the master one? Can't be the master one. Strange. Very strange. Okay, so that's fine. So what we do is start from scratch to create a button. So T, just call this button. We're going to make this base. We're going to break, and we're going to make this a bit more bold, semi-bold. And again, we do Shift A. And what we're going to do is we are going to start with white. So we search for white. Search for white, and we'll have the darkest gray. And what we're going to do, why is that hand symbol? Ooh. No. Okay, escape. Great. And then what we're going to do is we are going to make this purely round, but let's then play with the line height. Let's say 28. and then we're gonna make the border radius half of that, so 48 divided by 2, because we want to have that nice rounded look. We're also going to make that 8. We're going to say 16, 8 and 16. Okay, we've got a nice button there. And then we're going to do the same thing, so we're going to do Command G to group. We are also going to convert that group into an auto layout, so Shift A. We're going to give that a fixed width of 375, like from a mobile again. We're going to make the button field container, and we're going to make a line in the center. Okay, so we are also going to do the glass morphism, and we're going to be white. We're going to add a padding of 40. We're going to make that 60. And one thing I didn't add there was the stroke, so we're going to go white again, and we're going to say 50%. So here, border radius, we're going to add a stroke of white, and we're going to say 50% as well. Last but not least is the effect of a background blur 60. Okay, great. So again, the downside with white is not really going to work with that one. So another way to tackle that is to add a drop shadow. That is quite strong. So we're going to bring the rate. Going to bring this down to 10%. Okay, so I think that you can just about, the contrast is not too bad. It's mainly when it goes on a white background. So now what we're going to do is we're going to convert this to a component. So Alt Command K, we're going to call this button, and again we're going to unlock the variance, and we're just going to click the whole frame and make sure it resizes. So this one we're just going to call this black, or maybe we call it dark, and we're just going to make it the darkest grey, and we make that the lightest grey. Okay, so we now have two variants, or one variant. Let's get another one in, and we are then gonna call this, well, let's do the same order as the other one. So, well, we got rows, didn't we? We picked rows 500, and we are then gonna make the text pure white this time. We're gonna call that error. Let's create another variant. Sometimes you can't click on that 100% all the time. We're going to change that to green, and we're going to change that to white. We're going to call that success. We are then going to create another variant, which is going to be disabled. And that is going to be the same grey. I think it was 200. We are also going to bring down the, let's say 600. Okay, nice. So we got disabled, and then let's say we were to choose the primary colors of the brand of blue and orange, because I like the complementary colors. So here we can then do another variant, and then let's call that primary. We're going to then change that to the blue, and we are just on 30 minutes, and we're going to make that white. And then the last one, the very last one, is going to be secondary. And we got the really nice complementary orange, which are opposites on the color wheel. And then we just made that pure white as well. Okay, nice. So there you go. We've created a design system with glass morphism, and we use auto layout, we use variance, we created a button component, we created input fields, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.